What's the stupidest thing you've seen a grown-ass adult get angry over? One time a lady asked if she could skip me in line and I said sorry but I'm on lunch and need to get back. She turned to the person behind her and started saying, look at this ducking kid. Won't let me cut him in line because he thinks he's more important than I am. Right. I'm sure you have places to be, lady. At the gym, and this guy was rotating between 3 machines. 2 of them were side by side and the third was a good 30 feet across the room. A single cycle took at least 20 minutes. I was eyeing one of his machines whilst I squatted. Finally I had nothing else to use, so I asked him if he was done. He looked up from his book, Tom Clancy, and said, I'm using that. Okay. Wait your turn. Before I can even think to respond, a huge dude asks him if he could work in. The guy immediately smiles and goes, oh sure thing my dude, and the big guy gestures for me to use the machine I asked for and left. Dude looked so pissed. I kept thinking he would lean over and hit me with his book. I answered 911 calls. One day we had a fatal car crash happen, and had to reroute traffic from the main road down a side road, then back up to the main road. A woman who lives on the side road called 911 asking why there was commercial traffic passing through her residentially zoned home. I explained there was a serious car accident on the main route, and that as soon as that was resolved, the detour would be removed. She continued to complain, very angrily, that the trucks going by her house were kicking up dust and pebbles into her driveway, and demanded we send someone to clean it for her. I said no. We don't do that. She demanded to speak to a supervisor. I got all her information. Then I told her he'd be along to speak to her in person after he was finished informing the family of the person who died in the car accident that their family member was dead. Then I hung up the phone. When the sergeant got there, she refused to come to the door and refused to answer the phone when we called her back. A longtime parishioner made a scene before the morning service when she spotted a family sitting in her pew. As I noted some time ago, she insisted that the family move or that she'd leave the church and take her substantial pledge with her. To their credit, the family, newcomers to the church, didn't move and the woman left in a huff, much like a child having a tantrum. My dad is an angry dude. He's been to court-ordered anger management a few times. Has been kicked out of places a lot of times. So there are way too many instances to list. I'll tell a couple though. Once we were out to eat. Our waitress looked at my baby's sister and made a comment about how cute she is. Dad flips the duck out. Started screaming about how he didn't say she could look at his baby. We were asked to leave. Another one that sticks out is on Christmas. My parents are divorced and the custody order said we had to go back to my mom's house at a certain time. That time rolled around. We reminded our dad and he starts yelling about how we're dumb cunts. Fun times growing up. Lady returned her full cart of groceries to the customer service desk because my coworker with a broken arm was the one who rung her groceries up. She said she didn't like people with bandages on touching her groceries. His arm was in a sling which he keeps under his apron. We didn't tell him what happened because we knew he'd get upset. My nephew is a gymnast and he is very skilled. I was at one of his compilations award ceremonies to watch his receive a medal and saw a mother red-faced screaming from the crowd at me nephew saying he has won too many times. You should be kicked out to give the other kids a chance. She then went on to scream and swear till she was escorted out by security. I was later told by me nephew that her son came up to him not long after and apologized for his mom's behavior. I worked at an auto parts store for a while. We'd get middle-aged dudes who'd get mad at us for not looking for parts that don't exist for their cars, or for simply asking them to clarify what they are working on. It's incredibly disheartening to see a grown-ass man throw a hissy fit all because he doesn't know what kind of car he has. I wouldn't give him a free refill on his popcorn because we'd closed the stand and thrown it all away already. The security guard had to intervene at one point because he thought the guy was actually going to hit me. A parent at my child care center was pissed I wouldn't let her take another child's boots. She swore up and down they were her son's, even though they were too big for him and clearly labeled with someone else's name. EDA. I know my kiddos and their siblings' names. This was an only child. We request first and last name labels on outerwear, and it had another student's name on the inside tag. Common first name, uncommon last name. I found her child's boots for her, same brand. No label. Had a boss who took a trip to the college football championship game. His tickets were like $1,500 each. When he got back, we asked him how his trip went. In a high-pitched whine, he said everything sucked because his nachos were cold. Friend of mine got seriously hurt off a 50+ foot ski jump trying to avoid this 6-year-old girl hanging out in a blind landing. My friend is on the ground crying with his broken leg and ribs, and the father of this girl had the audacity to go stand over him and start screaming at him about how he could have killed his daughter. The 6-year-old hanging out in a blind spot where professional athletes were training. The mass of the park surrounded this guy quickly and told him they better never see him in a terrain park teaching his daughter how to ski on the landings of massive jumps, and proceeded to escort him and his daughter down the mountain. Fucking idiot, almost got his daughter killed. Permanently injured my friend. And then decided to come scream at an injured person who just hurt themselves to save his daughter's life. And before any other skiers call me or my buddy or anyone else, they're out. This was a very secluded and secured area. Somehow this dad and small daughter ducked a ton of fences to go hang out in the landing of a very large jump. There were spotters. Somehow this lovely duo came out of nowhere to go have fun in the landing, and no one really thought to be looking for random little kids breaking into the park. My mom got so mad she was red in the face. It was about biscuits at a restaurant not being perfect. My grandma is a type 2 diabetic. When she was staying with my family after Hurricane Harvey destroyed her trailer, she got really pissed off that my stepdad was making healthy meals for her instead of her favorites like fries, pizza, hamburgers, pasta, etc. My stepdad being type 2 as well. He said he wasn't going to enable her horrible eating habits and let her slowly kill herself. I lost count of how many times someone has screamed in my face when I asked for ID for a rated R movie or explained to a customer we have reserved seating so they had to choose their seat when buying a ticket. I used to work in a PT clinic as an aide. Not a clinician. Not certified in anything. Just there to guide patients through exercises and get them a heat pad/ice pack later. Busy place, so reusable ice packs, not always absolutely 100% frozen for the next person, but definitely cold. Had a lady insist that her ice pack was not turned on. Told her I just took it out of the freezer. Give it a minute to get through the pillowcase around it. 30 seconds later, this woman is screaming that I am wasting her money because I refused to turn her ice pack on and she hopes I get hit by a car after work. Okay lady, whatever helps you sleep at night. A lot of the movie theaters in my area have converted to a choose a seat when purchasing a ticket model. Guy was trying to buy tickets with his daughter and having an absolute fit because there weren't many good seats left for that time slot. And that this process doesn't allow for spontaneity anymore? He's not wrong about that. But he was raging at the poor high school kid just doing her job. One guy wanted a STEAM achievement for carrying a ducking garden gnome in Left 4 Dead 2 and started shouting and then crying when another guy wanted it too. This giant lady at a Shoppers Drug Mart was violently shaking her double stroller with 2 toddlers in it, freaking out about losing her $5 bill. Where's my $5 bill? Oh my god. A complete ducking meltdown. I grabbed a 5 out of my wallet and was like, excuse me, did you drop this? Just so she'd stop shaking those poor babies. I was working for a print shop. One of our customers started crying because his envelopes weren't the right shade of off-white. He was a lawyer. A 78-year-old woman not being able to scoop them fries fast enough. I'm not a confrontational person and don't look for conflict or start it. But that's one of the rare occasions I put somebody in their place in public. And I never say much. I'm like, she's 78, how fast do you want her to be able to move? Sat near the back of a plane and saw an older foreign couple try to run to the front to skip waiting for everyone else to clear in order. I was able to step out in the aisle before the wife got through and I waited until every single person was cleared before I continued on. They happened to be on the next connection that I was on and the husband came over and basically tried to fight me. I was 18. There was a 3-hour layover.